Hey there, glad you dropped by. Before we begin, please give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Ready to dive in? Let's get started. Warning, this content may include material that could be distressing for some. Discretion is advised. Pain seared through Robert's leg as Charlie's knife found its mark. It was a deep, throbbing agony that sent waves of panic inundating Robert's body. Gasping for breath, he stumbled backward, knocking over his chair in his desperate escape. As he clung to the edge of the dining room table, his mind reeled in disbelief at the abrupt and terrifying turn of events. In a heart-pounding frenzy, Robert bolted down the corridor, his frantic breaths echoing in the dimly lit house. His thundering footfalls resounded with urgency as he tore down the hallway, his terror palpable in every gasp. His adrenaline-fueled sprint aimed for the safety of his bedroom, a desperate attempt to elude the menacing figure hot on his heels. A disturbing silhouette brandishing a glinting knife bore down upon him with relentless determination, the intent to maim, or worse, evident in the glint of the blade. Robert's hands fumbled for the doorknob, his heart hammering, each second an eternity, as he raced against the encroaching threat, the refuge of his bedroom the only hope in the gripping chaos. For nearly a decade, Robert had lived as a solitary man, embracing a quiet existence in a remote and isolated house nestled within the densely wooded Allegheny Mountains in Pennsylvania, with the closest inhabited area lying a considerable distance, beyond the thick forest. In a world that felt both familiar and oddly unreal, he found solace in the solitude, or so he told himself, after the painful divorce that left him alone and adrift. The world outside moved on without him. Until the day something special occurred in his life. Years ago, Robert had wandered into a peculiar pet shop on a whim. It was a small, unassuming place, tucked away in the corner of a quiet street. As he stepped inside, the tinkling bell above the door announced his arrival. He looked around, taking in the bizarre assortment of creatures on display. Alternatives to living pets, such as robot pets, virtual pets, pet rocks, plush animals, holographic pets, artificial fish tanks featuring lifelike robotic fish instead of live real fish, and a few strange cages with apparently nothing more than white paper inside. And then he saw it. Charlie, a stick figure, emerging slowly from behind a white paper sheet in one of the seemingly empty cages. It stood about 3 feet tall, a simple stick man with 2 stick arms, 2 stick legs, and a deep black elongated oval head. Robert's heart skipped a beat as he stared at the creature. It was as if Charlie called out to him, sparking an immediate connection. He bought Charlie that very day, and his life was forever changed. The bond they formed was inexplicable, but powerful. Robert's loneliness became a thing of the past as Charlie accompanied him through the ups and downs of life. They laughed, they explored, and they shared the sort of camaraderie that only true friends could understand. The shopkeeper had nostalgically reiterated the widely known story of how and why stick figures like Charlie had come into existence, their creation born out of a world in mourning. A devastating and enigmatic illness ravaged both humanity and the animal kingdom, reaching endemic proportions with no known cure. This widespread affliction was predominantly transmitted by traditional pets, mainly, but not only, cats, dogs, birds, and fish, resulting in a global prohibition and chemical suppression of these beloved creatures, leaving people with a deep sense of loss. They were outlawed, their existence reduced to a few isolated living specimens, confined to zoo-like laboratories scattered across several countries. These enclaves served as the last bastions for research and attempts to comprehend the disease's origins and potential remedies, while the once beloved companions became haunting relics of a lost world. The stick figures had been a peculiar solution, brought to life by the ingenuity of scientists. brilliant minds had developed a way to bring drawings of stick figures to life, making them real, intelligent entities that offered companionship and an uncanny ability to adapt to their owners' emotions. It wasn't long before stick figures like Charlie became popular pets, filling the void left by the mysterious illness. They became cherished companions, and their quirky, almost childlike demeanor brought joy to their human owners. But one fateful night, during what was supposed to be a routine dinner, everything changed. Robert had prepared a simple meal for himself and Charlie, their usual placid dinner at home. He could still feel the weight of the past, the years he had spent in solitude after the loss of his job and the bitter end of his marriage. But Charlie had been his anchor, his source of happiness. That evening was eerily quiet, and the world outside seemed to hold its breath as Robert and Charlie sat at the dinner table. The flickering candlelight cast intricate shadows on the walls, creating a sense of cozy intimacy. The curtains swayed gently with the breeze, creating a soothing rhythm that accompanied their meal. Moonlight filtered through the windows, casting a silvery glow that added an otherworldly touch to the room. It danced with the shadows, painting the walls with a delicate, ethereal beauty. Robert sipped his wine, the deep red liquid swirling in his glass as he gazed at Charlie. The stick figure, with his simple, elegant lines, sat across from Robert. Charlie's expressive eyes were fixed on Robert, eyes that held the wisdom of 1,000 silent conversations. The bond between them was beyond words, forged over innumerable shared moments. The dining room was filled with the soft murmur of their discourse, punctuated by laughter exclusively meant for true friends to share. Charlie had a unique way of mimicking Robert's gestures, transforming his simple stick figure form into a symphony of morphing shapes and movements. The jokes they exchanged had a history, an intricacy, that only they understood. Their merriment, a blend of Robert's hearty chuckles and Charlie's enigmatic contortions, filled the space. But on this particular night, something was off. As Robert reached for the bread basket, a sudden, unsettling change washed over Charlie. The air seemed to thicken with tension as a darkness crept into Charlie's eyes, the very eyes that had once radiated warmth and understanding. In an instant, the mood shifted from cozy to chilling. Charlie's hand darted for the kitchen knife on the table, and Robert's heart raced as he registered the intent in those now menacing eyes. The bedroom had assumed the role of a provisional sanctuary from the nightmare that was once his companion. Each piece of furniture that he shoved against the door was a desperate plea for security. An electric surge of vitality pulsed through his veins as he grappled to erect a fragile barrier between himself and the imminent danger lurking just beyond the threshold. As he braced himself against the furniture blocking the door, the past and present intertwined in his mind in a tumultuous rush of emotions and memories. Flashes of their happier times flickered like old film reels. One memory took Robert back to a pleasant day earlier in the week. He could almost feel once again the warmth of the sun on his face, the scent of freshly cut grass in the air, as he and Charlie twirled around in the park. Their joyful voices blended with the ambient hum of the surroundings. Charlie danced, his stick figure body swaying to an inaudible rhythm. Children watched in awe, their laughter echoing in the background as they joined in the strange and gleeful dance. The memories provided some respite from the present, but the horror that haunted beyond the bedroom door soon shattered the illusion. Charlie's frenzied screams and relentless attempts to break in were a stark contrast to the carefree dance they had once shared. Robert's trembling hands reached for his cell phone, his lifeline to the outside world. He fumbled with it, his fingers shaking as he tried to dial for help. But there was no response, only the cold, unyielding silence of a dead line. Hysteria seized him, and he tried again, but the result was the same. His mind raced, thoughts colliding in a whirlwind of confusion and dread. He realized that from the moment Charlie had turned insane, the power in the house had gone out, and surely the same must have happened with the phone signal. Robert briefly entertained the idea of breaking free through the window, hoping for an escape route. Yet, a sobering reality dawned on him. Running across the dense, darkened woods wouldn't lead to safety. The monster's speed would easily catch up, leaving him no chance of reaching the closest town for help. The hours dragged on, an agonizing stretch of time filled with fear and uncertainty. Each thud against the door was a reminder of the violence that had replaced the warmth of friendship. Exhaustion clawed at Robert as he sat on the floor, his back firmly pressed against the furniture barricading the bedroom door. Yet he held onto the remnants of his strength, determined to survive the ordeal. Then it happened. A faint sound. His eyes snapped to the bedroom's wall. The air conditioning grill wide open. Panic surged within him as he slowly turned around, his breath quickening. The stick figure loomed, noiseless, its arm raised, a gleaming kitchen knife gripped firmly. A bone-chilling scream pierced the air, and then the blade struck. Robert was no more. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Your being here is truly appreciated. Take care, stick around for more strange stories, and see you real soon, in another timeline.